From the moment a woman gets married, her identity often shifts. My name is Emma, but at work and around the neighborhood, I'm known simply as Mrs. Taylor. Even at the daycare and school, that's what they call me. I wouldn't mind so much if my husband called me by my first name, but he never does. To Gordon, I'm just hey or you. It's been like this since the beginning of our marriage, and even now, as I stand at the brink of 50, nothing has changed. I always call him Gordon, hoping he'd catch on, but he never does. Gordon is 3 years older than me, making him 53 now. He works for a transportation company, delivering goods, and that's how we met, me as a store clerk and him as the friendly delivery man who always had time for a chat. Our relationship started out like something out of a romance novel, but real life wasn't so kind. Gordon would use work as an excuse to avoid helping around the house. Despite the fact that I work full-time at the deli, he seemed to think that all the household chores were my responsibility. We had our first and only son, Mark, but Gordon barely lifted a finger to help raise him. It's funny how society praises men for doing the bare minimum, like playing catch with their kids, while women work from dawn till dusk and still don't get a break from housework. Mothers are expected to take care of their children as if it's second nature, and that expectation feels like a heavy, invisible chain around our necks. Mark was a good kid growing up, but something changed when he hit high school. After he started working, he became sarcastic and distant, especially in the last 2 years since he joined his current company. He comes home late and doesn't seem to care about anything I have to say. But for some reason, he and Gordon have grown closer. They laugh together, often at my expense, as if they've formed an alliance against me. I remember when Mark was a baby. I was overwhelmed with love for him. I would watch him sleep and feel like I could do anything for him. But now, looking at the sarcastic man he's become, I feel that love slipping away. It's hard to feel unconditional love when the person you're supposed to love is constantly mocking you. I found myself expecting something in return for the love I gave, to both Gordon and Mark, but it never came. 26 years of marriage, and every day feels like another sigh. Happiness has been a rare visitor in our home. 2 years ago, Gordon and Mark started criticizing my cooking. I don't think my skills suddenly dropped, nor do I remember cutting corners. I always considered the nutritional balance, tried to save every penny at the supermarket, and I cooked dishes I knew they liked. Planning meals every day is hard enough, but having my efforts dismissed so cruelly was a blow I didn't expect. One night, I made Gordon's favorite Chinese stir-fry, hoping to please him. But instead he yelled, "What is this? It's too salty." The night before, he had complained that the food was too bland. "Can't you find a middle ground?" he accused, all while continuing to eat. Mark, on the other hand, said nothing. He just sat there, eating silently, as if my efforts weren't even worth commenting on. "I often get taken to fancy restaurants by my boss," he finally said with a smirk. "Everything tastes good to me now." His words stung more than I care to admit. Feeling defeated, I reached out to my best friend Juliet, who is also 50. She divorced her husband 2 years ago after he had the nerve to point out a dirty window while never lifting a finger around the house. "I whacked him on the head with a hanger," she told me with a laugh. Juliet was fierce, and I admired her for it. When I told her about Gordon and Mark, she got mad, as if she were the one being insulted. "Why don't you just tell them to cook for themselves?" she suggested. "Hit them with a frying pan if they don't get it." But I knew I couldn't do that. If I confronted Gordon, he'd just get stubborn and insist on cooking, and I couldn't bear the thought of eating whatever he'd come up with. Juliet laughed, but for me it was a real concern. "Ever since I became single, I've been quite popular at work," Juliet confided. "It's your life, Emma. Don't just live for your husband or kids. You're only 50. But I felt so much older. 50 is when life truly begins, she insisted. Juliet's words planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Is the ideal mother and wife really someone who puts her kids and husband first, and herself last? Is that what's expected? Juliet shook her head. Whether it's right or not, society's norms aren't always correct. Before being a mother or a wife, you're an individual. Life's more fun when you live for yourself. Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. Was I really living just for Gordon and Mark? What about me? What about the person I used to be before all of this? Dinner time had become a tense affair in our house. What was once a moment of family bonding had turned into a daily test of endurance. One evening, I made Mark's favorite curry rice. I thought maybe this time I'd get it right, but after just one bite, Gordon shouted, "What the heck is this? It's sweet. Who makes sweet curry?" Trying to keep my disappointment in check, I turned to Mark, hoping for a different reaction. "Is it too sweet?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I prefer spicy," he replied, as if I should have known better. "But I know this amazing curry place. It's not fair to compare a home-cooked meal to Michelin-starred chefs." That was the last straw. I didn't cook to hear harsh words and sarcastic comments. I cooked to nourish my family, to show them love in the only way I knew how. But that love was being thrown back in my face every single day. "My mom's curry rice was the best," Gordon added, twisting the knife even further. I wanted to tell him to have his mother cook for him every day, but I held back, not wanting to escalate the argument. At work, a glimmer of light appeared in my otherwise gloomy life. My manager, Mr. Smith, complimented me on my customer service. "Mrs. Taylor, your service is always so cheerful and genuine." "It's great," he said with a warm smile. His words lifted my spirits more than he could have known. A single compliment, coming from someone who didn't have to say it, made all the difference. It was a stark contrast to the criticism I faced at home. Mr. Smith was 54, single, and quite the charmer, especially among the younger female staff. But he treated me, a 50-year-old woman, with the same kindness he showed the women in their 20s. It was a refreshing change, and I couldn't help but wonder how Gordon and Mark behaved at work. Did they treat their colleagues the way they treated me? I worried about them, but there was nothing I could do. One evening, as I helped a customer at the deli, Mr. Smith approached me with a surprising proposition. "Emma," he began, hesitating slightly. "Sorry, Mrs. Taylor. Would you consider representing our store on a TV show? It's a cooking competition where delis showcase their signature dishes." I was taken aback. My husband and son criticized my cooking daily, yet here was Mr. Smith asking me to showcase it on national television. I immediately declined. "My husband and son criticize my cooking every day," I explained. But Mr. Smith wasn't deterred. "Do they leave food on their plates?" he asked. "No," I admitted. "They always finish it." He smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. "Maybe they're just like my friend who always says, 'You're satisfied with this? I know better places.' We need someone like you, Emma, someone who cooks daily." His words sparked something inside me. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as bad a cook as Gordon and Mark made me out to be. I decided to take the challenge seriously. I crafted a lunch combo for the show, and to my surprise, the company's top executives unanimously approved my dish. While my colleagues celebrated, I felt a mix of shock and resentment. How could Gordon and Mark belittle my cooking when everyone else loved it? Was it just for their amusement? Fueled by anger and newfound confidence, I decided to take a step I never thought I would. I went to the city office and picked up divorce papers. That evening I served Gordon and Mark shrimp scampi, a dish I knew they would criticize. As expected, they exchanged glances and simultaneously raised homemade fail cards, mocking me as if they were judges on a cooking show. I'd had enough. I grabbed the cards from their hands and confronted them. "You fail as a husband," I said to Gordon. "And you fail as a son," I added, glaring at Mark. Then, with a calm I didn't know I possessed, I placed the divorce papers on the table. "I'm filing for divorce," I announced. Gordon tried to laugh it off, thinking it was some kind of joke, but Mark warned him, "Dad, she seems serious." My decision was final. I quickly moved out, leaving behind the toxic environment I had endured for so long. Juliet's support was invaluable during this time. Without the burden of my foolish husband and clueless son, I could finally focus on myself and my job. When the company asked me to appear on TV, I hesitated. The thought of being on television was terrifying, but Mr. Smith convinced me. "You should do it," he said. "Most people only get one shot at TV in their lifetime." I agreed, and the experience was surreal. On the day of the show, I was nervous, my heart racing as the stern-faced chef tasted my lunch combo. But when the judges unanimously raised their pass cards and praised my dish as delicious and perfect, I felt a wave of relief and triumph. I high-fived Mr. Smith, blushing as the reality of the moment set in. It wasn't a dream. This was real. After the show aired, things changed rapidly. I got involved in product development at work and even received a raise. It was as if the universe had been waiting for me to take that leap of faith. My life had turned around completely since leaving Gordon and Mark. 3 months after the divorce, Mark visited the store. He had bulked up significantly, looking more like a football player than the son I once knew. "What happened to you?" I asked, genuinely surprised. "I haven't been eating at home, so I've been eating out a lot," he admitted. Serves him right, I thought. Probably karma for mocking the food that a top chef had praised. "I saw you on TV, he said with a sheepish smile. Dad was shouting in disbelief, but I wasn't moved. "Grow up, Mark," I told him firmly. "You're 25 now. Handle things yourself." He looked at me, stunned by my newfound strength. "Can I at least live with you?" he pleaded. "No," I replied coldly. "If you don't want to be with Dad, be independent. Don't come here again." Mark left, shocked and defeated. The next day, as I was placing an umbrella stand outside the store, a massive figure approached. It was Gordon. But he had gained so much weight I barely recognized him. "Because of you, I've been eating and drinking at pubs every day," he complained. I couldn't move before I knew it. I had no sympathy for him. "You have no right to call me that anymore," I said, turning to go back inside. But Gordon followed me in, refusing to leave. "I apologize for everything," he said, but I remained silent. "Your cooking was always amazing," he continued. "My mother told me never to praise someone too much or they wouldn't improve." His apology fell on deaf ears. I had already moved on, and there was no going back. Suddenly, Mr. Smith emerged from the back. "I've called the police," he said calmly. "Maybe you should leave." Gordon, always dramatic, pointed at us both. "Is that why you divorced? Are you two together?" His insinuation infuriated me, but before I could respond, the police arrived. Gordon resisted arrest, his face twisted with rage. "Emma, help!" he shouted as they forced him into the police car. But I felt nothing but relief as the car drove away. With Gordon and Mark out of my life, I finally had peace. I could have lunch with Juliet whenever I wanted and enjoy my evenings without the weight of their negativity. Work was fulfilling, and for the first time in years, I felt valued. One day, Mr. Smith approached me with a shy smile. "Emma, do you like musicals?" he asked nervously. "I got 2 tickets. It's easier to watch a movie anytime, but a play has a fixed date." His awkwardness was endearing, and I found myself smiling back. "I love musicals," I replied. "I'd love to go." As we planned our evening out, I realized that life was unpredictable, full of twists and turns I never saw coming. But maybe, just maybe, I was finally embarking on a second youth, one where I lived for myself and not for anyone else. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free.